Hello, welcome back to another sculpting video. Got my clay, and we're doing another kind of just plain white sculpture. And what I'm going to do with these eventually is I'm going to end up possibly keeping some as is and possibly making some into, I usually leave them out for a while, look and stare at them, and then eventually sometimes they kind of just start looking like a certain thing, and then that's when they get their upgrade, if they do put hair, color some of them. But I think some of them do look really good just in the clay color, so I'm going to leave quite a few in the clay color. This is the technique I've been doing lately, where I kind of just make a ball, roll the ball, and then I'll kind of just bulk this up. I think this is going to be kind of a heavy set piece of clay here. So I'll kind of just plot out where I want everything. Give it kind of some cheeks here. Kind of a double chin area here. Let's kind of just start with that and see where we're at. And what I'm doing is basically just pulling lightly at this point and joining the two pieces of clay. I'm not too concerned with anything other than getting it all kind of locked in as one unit, and then we'll find our shapes and forms. And I think I kind of already see where we're going with this one, so I don't want to mess with this too much. I kind of do like the shape of it already, so I'm just going to very lightly kind of pull everything. Maybe you can kind of see where we're going here. So you see right here we got kind of a jawline kind of forming right here. And if I see something in the clay, I mentioned this before, I kind of just tend to just go with it. I don't try to fight ideas that kind of present themselves, because then you can use these ideas later. So much you can do. You kind of see where we're going here. We got this, we got this. Now remember, this isn't the actual chin. This is kind of an under chin. Kind of shaping this cheek up. Now I'll give it an actual little chin here. Using the one tool that I always use. This is really the only tool I use. I might upgrade this because this one does have a seam in it, right here and right here. It would be nice to not have to work around that seam, and to be able to just kind of roll away, roll things without having to go back and rework them. Okay, so you see the chin right here forming up. Pretty happy with that. Don't know that it fully makes sense as a chin yet. I think usually this comes around when I add the mouth, is when it starts to kind of make sense what's going on here. I think I am going to need to add a little bit more of a head up top for the forehead section of this. As you can see, I kind of got, although I can, yeah, I think I could just do really small eyes, but I think that might actually be a little bit overboard there. So we'll do the lips. Do the lips now. just make a little lump like I do here. Apply that, just like that. And blend that in. And the reason I like doing the human faces is it's really like a no pressure thing. You can kind of just make it however you want it. Doesn't really have to be human. You can give it, and I do kind of frequently. You can give it kind of non-human features even if you want. You see, there's the. Now you kind of see what's going on here. Now we're kind of getting our shape. We're realizing it's a kind of a larger figure here. I don't really like working it too much, like the lips and everything like that. I kind of think that's good as it is. And I think I might bulk out kind of under here, kind of for like a jowls kind of effect, if that makes any sense. We want it to kind of like I said, this is kind of a more heavy set character. A lot of my characters frequently are heavy set. I think it just is more fun to make them like that. You see, kind of just adding layers here. So you see that kind of goes under there. And I'll add two more, one going under the chin, connecting, like right here. And we'll connect that to that, connect that to here. And you can do this subtractively as well if you wanted to, but I'm just kind of trying to keep my clay flush to the foil. I don't want any bubbles or anything like that. Okay, so you see kind of what we got to do is probably push this up a little bit, because I need it to be jutting out from under. There you go, kind of like that. And we'll add one more over here. And what I'm doing is kind of just creating, I guess, just like neck fat, I guess. I don't really know what's going on here. Kind of just seems like I'm just building another layer of kind of fat onto the face. And I think it's more interesting that way. I think it's like boring when people do kind of technical studies and things like that. Have always been kind of boring to me. Not that I don't have the skill to do any, realistic stuff, but even if I could, I think I would probably end up doing kind of wacky out there stuff like this. This is kind of the norm for me, and much more fun again. We'll kind of just press that up here so you can kind of see what's going on here. This person's got a great jawline, a little bit heavy set. You might need to get that cholesterol checked. Or they're still rocking, they're still doing their thing. And we'll kind of blend this up into the cheeks too. And we'll just kind of do that on both sides, and you see, kind of can see, there you go, that's bringing it into the chin here. And there you go, you can kind of see what we're doing. Let's get a second cam on that. You see kind of heavy set build. I think I kind of like that as is. So let's figure out the situation for the eyes. I think we can do, we'll do the nose first. And we'll do kind of, how can I do this? I did like that recent nose I did, that was kind of like what I said, reminded me of like an owl, the shape of an owl or a hummingbird. Kind of a thin nose going all the way down, very sharp. I did like that. We do something like that maybe. Kind of working the shapes in the back at this point together, because the back does tend to be the part that never looks the best. But I don't really go overboard. There, no one's going to display them from the back, and even if I were to keep them for myself, I wouldn't go too crazy on the back either. I think we're going to have to redefine this kind of. Okay, look at this nose on there. Gotta work in it using the tool. And again, I did like that kind of really sharp nose I recently did that was like hanging down a little bit. I don't want to go overboard and make it look not realistic. So maybe we'll give it like something like that. And you can kind of work from the top, work from the side, just kind of move around while you're working here. So you can make sure your proportions are the way you want. Or even, depending on, I don't know if you even want them to be even, but whatever you want to do, just you can use different angles to analyze your piece. So I'm bringing these lips down a little bit. We're gently going to work some of this clay here to get it a little more uniform. Okay, so you kind of see where we're at here. I think I might need a little bit more clay, kind of just to fill out the top of the head. Kind of like this, probably, fill out the top of the head. So what I'm going to do is just make like I'm trying to make sure I have enough battery on my camera, sorry, but make sure I have enough stretched out here to kind of cover this area. What we're doing now, that might actually be good too, for maybe a later idea here. I don't really know what that could be, a loose hat. If I could figure out what that realistically could have been, that might have been good. Actually, that is kind of cool looking. In theory, the eyes would be under here, so kind of like some kind of hat, maybe. I'm almost gonna do that. Kind of just like that's really 90s looking. I don't want to mess that up. I think I'm going to leave that as is. I don't really have a good explanation of what it would, in real life, like it's not, normally I like to at least be able to say it's a hat, it's hair, it's something, but I don't think I have a great explanation for this, but I do think it looks like really 90s. And that little, whatever you want to call that, I think I'm going to leave that, and I think I might even add a couple more little dots like that. It's kind of a nice little touch there. Let's see if I can do it without causing a whole thing here. and give them one like kind of Marilyn Monroe kind of dot too. We call those birthmarks. This one would be a good candidate to actually paint or stain. I don't know if I'm going or not though. Trying to get this thing to stick. It's just so small. You see what I'm trying to just get this little tiny piece of clay. You want to get it to stick, but you don't want to actually. You want to actually push into the clay. There you go. Kind of a Marilyn on there. Alright, and we'll give this guy a couple ears and then we'll kind of figure out what the hell it's supposed to be. These are decent sized ears on this one. I always say that and then I do like little tiny ears anyway. But we'll see, maybe this will look good on this. Yeah, see, I do like this. I don't know what it is, but that's part of it too. You don't really need to have a reason for anything you do. You can kind of just have fun, and if you like it, then just roll with it. It doesn't have to be, really doesn't have to be anything. But again, this is very early on, and this is going to be at some point later in the year. This is at least going to be a B. I would guess at the end of the year we're looking for B. We're looking at maybe B plus tier on this. May even be an A tier build, depending on how it holds up in the oven and depending on a couple other things. This is a really nice. We'll even go a step further and kind of work that ear in, kind of fold it in right there like that. Yeah, this is a really great build. I don't know what it is. If anyone has any ideas what that could be. Like the eyes would be under here and under here. So let me get a close-up. You see kind of these, see kind of the birthmarks all over the side. You got one over here, under the eye. Whatever this veil or whatever it is, I don't know. But I got kind of the double chins going on. We're going to keep that as is. Very carefully, I'm going to get this into the oven and we'll come through with the final photos on this one. Thank you for watching.